Okay, you dirty animals, welcome back. We've got a Bitcoin breakout here, right? Happy to announce it, Bitcoin breakout. Now, by the way, I just want to say, just to cover all bases, I can't not trust the charts. Unfortunately, I can't. People want me to sit here and say I'm, fully 100% confirmed, everything's good, we're going upwards from here. There has not been weekly chart confirmation yet. I do think weekly chart confirmation is required. 69K is the prior all-time high from 2021. That is the red line on the screen right now. We very clearly rejected from that level exactly on a weekly candle close on the very all-time high wick back here in March. And we closed the weekly chart right below it again on top of it at 69K last week. Okay, so for absolute confirmation, for 100% confirmation, you're going to need the confirmation that comes with that weekly chart close. You do have to remember this is a large structure. A large structure requires large confirmation. Now, that doesn't mean you can't try and predict the weekly candle close. Okay, you can do that. You can certainly look to buy, or maybe you've bought already in anticipation of the weekly candle closing above that level, and that's a fine thing to do. That's a completely fine thing to do. But the actual confirmation itself will only come when that candle closes. Fake outs can occur. They do occur. This is all just full disclaimers. They occurred over here, for example, went all the way down to 49K. Very big drop there. Very brutal drop, okay? So fake outs do occur, but at the moment it's looking good. I can't deny it looks good, and that's very good to see. So a bit of a celebratory video here today, but also a lot of analysis to get into. We'll look into where a next target could be for Bitcoin. We'll look into, and that's 84K, by the way. We'll look into, and that's the next leg target, not the actual target of the entire bull run itself. We'll look into the golden cross that came in on the daily chart. We'll look into a bit of short-term analysis, looking into our fake out line breaking. So that's good to see as well. We've retested the all-time high, rejected from it in the meantime. We'll discuss that, and we'll also discuss, if this is the next leg of the bull market, if we have seen the macro breakout here. According to the charts, altcoins shouldn't be too far behind seeing an altcoin season. It seems like it hasn't started yet. We still have Bitcoin dominance skyrocketing, but we'll discuss the altcoin market a bit as well. We need to do that. That's a very important topic as well. So maybe we'll split that up into the second half of the video. We'll stick with Bitcoin for the first half. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. Bitcoin and Blowfin are the two exchanges I advertise on this YouTube channel. You can check out the links down below for 15% trading fee discount on Bitcoin added to your account permanently. Use my referral link to sign up. A rebate reward on Blowfin, as well as a reward center with 5,000 USD with my link down below as well. These are both global non-KYC exchanges. They've both never been hacked before. I use Bitcoin personally. I've been advertising it for over, I think around 14 months at this point. They're both good exchanges, but I use Bitcoin personally. Blowfin's an alternative option. Check them out with the links down below, guys. I appreciate you signing up with those links. Helps me out, helps you out as well by getting on a good exchange. So check them out. Let's get into the content. I want to also mention, and this is something I probably should have mentioned in the introduction, guys. The US election is in, let's say, 6 days, okay? 6 days away, the US election. And also the FOMC decision's in 8 days. So this is why I had that disclaimer in the introduction. Not only is it just objectively true that this is a weekly chart level at 69K, we need to close a weekly chart above it. But I'm also well aware that we do have very important events coming up this week, okay? FOMC, huge event. The probabilities are highly skewed towards a 25% basis point cut, but mainly the US election, and that will no doubt impact FOMC as well. So US election's coming very shortly, and that could have a major effect on the market. So, I personally, I'm trusting my logical brain. Making huge macro decisions right before such a major event like this is, it's a gamble. It's certainly a gamble, but for a lot of people, it's a gamble they're willing to take. For me personally, it's a gamble that I'm also willing to take to some extent, but not fully. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and say that, there's a certain bias here in the US election. There certainly is definitely better things for the industry. I think Trump's campaign is definitely more lenient on cryptocurrency. Will definitely be more bullish for cryptocurrency. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I know exactly what's going to occur to the markets based on the US election. And a lot of people in a lot of different political orientations will say different things, and I don't really think there is an objective view. Unfortunately, it does look like, however, if we're just looking at it from a purely factual perspective, Kamala is going to be a little tougher on financial markets as a whole due to some of our tax programs, and definitely our outlook on cryptocurrency in general is much more bearish than Trump is. So, look, that's a little update there on the US election. We'll discuss that more when it actually occurs. I don't want to make this a political channel. I just want to react to it objectively. But that's something to keep in mind over the next week as a big event that's coming up, and that could lead to a lot of volatility. So a lot of this structure could be thrown out the window very shortly. Okay, I'm not saying it is going to be. I'm saying the chart looks good right now, but that's just the objective truth, okay? All right, so let's get into the charts with that said. So descending channel formation, good stuff. Looks like it's breaking to the upside. Full confirmation on the weekly candle, but it's looking great at the moment. No doubt about that at all. And if we're talking about where the next target could be on Bitcoin, it's a little bit hard to do because we are in price discovery very shortly. Now, obviously, right now as we speak, the all-time high is 74K. We have not broken that yet. We're testing it currently. So that's the first target, breaking 74K. But after that, where do we go, right? Because that's price discovery. And one thing we can do is we can go ahead and take a measured move from the descending channel formation. And the way you do that is you measure from the first retest at the top of the channel to the first retest of the bottom of the channel, okay? And you go ahead and apply that to the breakout point. Say we broke out right here, and that would take us to around 74,000 84,000 if I did it completely correctly. 84,000 US dollars is around the breakout point. For this channel formation, the measured move, that's where it would take us. So that would be probably a first leg target for this Bitcoin breakout. Now that could take weeks to occur. Generally speaking, when you talk about macro targets, it's very difficult to give an exact time frame. We're talking about moves that could take place over the course of weeks or even a couple of months. But the next target does look like after the all-time high breakout will be around that $84,000 region. There's something we're going to watch out there as well for with the 5.3 theory. We'll discuss that more as we approach that target. But 84,000 is definitely a level to keep an eye on above 74K. So first and foremost is the all-time high at 74K. After that, it looks like 84,000 is the next major target based on this structure as a whole. Our invalidation lines for a bull market at this point, in my view, would be this yellow line on the screen. Actually, all of these yellow lines on the screen, maybe not this one because we've broken another macro level. We can go ahead and delete that now. But this one's going backwards from 2018, and this one right here. These would be very important invalidation lines. If we broke those lines, Bitcoin would very certainly roll over, in my view. But this move is moving very, very rapidly, okay? We've broken above what yesterday we discussed is, we discussed yesterday the need for a weekly candle close, but we also discussed the potential to front run the weekly candle close if we broke the pink line on the screen here. This pink line being a fake out line from last week and also being the resistance line of a potential ascending channel or ascending wedge formation. Those are both patterns of exhaustion. Luckily, we've gone ahead and broken above that pink line, and it looks like we're doing some work to flip it for support right now. Now, seeing as we've got a rejection right here from 74K, the all-time high, it wouldn't surprise me too much if we roll over here and go down and retest something like 69 again, potentially bounce off that level and go back upwards. Any sort of short-term correction here wouldn't be overly concerning. But right now, these charts look quite good, and that fake out line actually is broken. This upwards move is being driven by the golden cross we saw on the Bitcoin daily chart. I can't say that golden crosses, and by the way, golden crosses is when the 200 SMA crosses below the 50 SMA. It's a very bullish moving average indicator right there. It's a very bullish event on the moving averages for Bitcoin daily chart and also the 3-day chart. It usually is very important on. One thing I will say about golden crosses and death crosses is they are, they're a result of price action. They don't necessarily result in price action sometimes. They are pretty prone to fake outs. Okay, for example, we saw a death cross right here. This is a great example. In September 2023, it didn't lead to a drop. In fact, we pumped upwards. So the cycle will always override the importance of any specific indicator. Because the cycle at that point determined that we had been consolidating for too long and we needed to move upwards, the indicator itself didn't really matter. And it just occurred because we'd been going sideways for so long. Of course, the averages were going to be, the moving averages were going to be converging towards each other. So it was just a result of price action rather than something that was resulting in price action, resulting in price action, I should say. Now, in this occurrence, it looks like it's resulting in price action because we saw a death cross, it faked out, and now we've come back in. We've seen a dramatic move up to the upside. It's caused an incline in the 50 SMA. The 200 SMA has been declining due to the stagnation of the price. It's led to a cross, and right after that cross and right around that cross and leading up to that cross, we've been seeing this massive incline. So this looks like it's a bullish golden cross here, and that's going to add some upwards momentum to this move, no doubt. It probably already has. These types of indicators, you can see them coming, right? So usually people don't actually wait for the cross themselves. They buy in anticipation for the cross. So this move is probably resulted somewhat in people buying because the cross is going to occur, rather than people waiting for the cross and then buying when it occurs because it's predictable. But just a little bit of extra upwards momentum to that move right there. So that's good to see. The last time we saw a golden cross on the Bitcoin daily chart, of course, was right here in around October last year, and that was obviously preceding massive moves to the upside. In fact, moves to an all-time high at 74K. So overall on Bitcoin, looking quite strong. Broke our fake out line. Definitely need to break 74K. We're rejecting from it right now. That's the current all-time high. We are finding resistance there. The next macro target would be 84K. But it's important to note that all of this could very well roll over. It is still very fragile. US election next week. Weekly candle close is not closed yet to confirm it. So, keep an open mind here. I don't think this is a time really to be going 100% all in, taking out loans and selling the kids and buying Bitcoin. I just don't. But I'm not going to sit here and say that buying is a bad idea here. I think that would be irrational. Just remember that this is not a 100% confirmed move yet. And if you act off confirmation, maybe this isn't for you. Now, as for the altcoin market, we could even go ahead and make this a separate video, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to get through it briefly, and perhaps we'll do a more extensive dive into it in a few days here. But the altcoin market right now is not showing much sign of life. It's not following Bitcoin. This is very much a Bitcoin-led move at this point in time. And you can see that very clearly by Bitcoin dominance just continuing to absolutely rampage to the upside, reaching another target at 60%. I mentioned that 60% could be the high for Bitcoin dominance. I've been talking about that for a few weeks. At this point, I think that's, that could be the case, but we could even go a little bit higher to 63% here. And I'll explain why. So Bitcoin dominance, of course, representing the strength of Bitcoin in relation to altcoins. When this chart goes down, that represents an altcoin season. So generally speaking, and this is general, it's a generalized scale. It's not every single time. There are exceptions, but generally speaking, when you're looking to invest in altcoins is generally when the Bitcoin dominance chart is going down. Right now, it's still going up. So right now, technically speaking, this is not an ideal time to get into altcoins from a generalized scale. But Bitcoin dominance is, in a rampage here. And if we're looking at the historical data, we're looking at the historical trends, we bring up the Bitcoin dominance chart in red, overlay it with the Bitcoin chart. When does Bitcoin dominance start to roll over? When do altcoins start outperforming Bitcoin? Well, historically speaking, it's been around when Bitcoin has broken all-time highs. Bitcoin's all-time high from last cycle being at 69K. If we look at, right here, that's where we broke all-time highs on Bitcoin. That's exactly where Bitcoin dominance started dropping. Same thing in December 2020. So if we're looking historically speaking, if we're looking from a cyclical perspective, we realistically should be seeing Bitcoin dominance start to top out here. Maybe not exactly right now. It's a cyclical thing. So, give or take a few weeks, but this is around where we would expect the Bitcoin dominance top to be from a cyclical perspective. Patience, a little bit of patience here won't hurt you because, again, the altcoin market is simply not moving yet. There's actually nothing going on Ethereum. Ethereum's barely moved. And the same thing with most altcoins. It's actually pretty much an exclusively Bitcoin move right now. So I wouldn't be too stressed if you're looking to buy altcoins. It's not really a panic situation. You could even really do yourself a favor by waiting until that US election and that FOMC release. That's personally what I'll be doing. I'm not too interested or super keen in getting into many altcoins here. Maybe I'll make a few picks, but for the general scale and the broad portfolio, I'm not too interested. I'm not missing anything. Nothing's happening for them. Bitcoin dominance is, Ethereum BTC is continuing to tank downwards. It's on major support, which means it could bounce. And I probably do expect it to bounce sometime around here, but it hasn't yet. So you're not missing anything by waiting. That's for general Bitcoin dominance and altcoin market charts. And Bitcoin's looking quite good. This is a Bitcoin-led move. It's a move that is still on its opening legs, shaky legs, and it could very well roll over or at least see some sort of correction down to something like 69K. So don't get it too ahead of yourselves here. But I'm not going to sit here and tell every single person that you shouldn't be buying because people have different risk tolerances and stuff. And I'm not going to sit here and just be a party pooper all day. But this certainly looks good. The charts look great. But just keep that in mind that there are a few things here that still need to happen. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate it. Literally comment anything. As I said yesterday, it doesn't matter what you comment. An emoji, criticism, love, hate, whatever. I mean, obviously hate wouldn't be preferable, but comment whatever you want for the algorithm. I really appreciate it. The exchanges, guys, Bitcoin and Blowfin. You can find my links down below. 15% trading fee discount available with my referral link on Bitcoin. Check them out. I appreciate that. Those are great exchanges. You won't regret them. I personally use Bitcoin, so use my link if you're interested. And I'll mention one more thing. That is the VIP group on Telegram. We trade altcoins 4 times a week. I give you my entry signals. I give you my stop losses, my take profit targets, everything you need to make a trade posted in there 4 times a week with a 78.32% win rate over 2 years of trading. Very extensive track record, all transparent. Check that out as well, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you soon.